So that's what I kind of thought I'd bring this guy. So when I ride this square, I'm going to ride to a stop here, and I'm going to just to really, really try to point out. So when I get stopped here, I want those front shoulders just to step over again. So I'll stop, step across, then walk on again. Ride, stop, shift that front end across, walk on again. So it's what I don't want to have happen is that I don't want the hind end to move. I don't want it to swing out, because if it swings out like when I turn this corner like that, what's happening is, and he's not actually starting to move those, open up. And I stop, so my out neck, and I'm feeling him with the left rein and my right foot, so that, which is the outside one. Okay, and feel how like there's a little sticky right there. So that's what we want to get to. So now we're going to kind of go back through and say, okay, well, how do we help some of that start to happen? Okay, so one of the good places to start with, and you can do this at home in your arena, is that I work a lot in the beginning on the fence. So as I'm going down the fence here, and you can watch it from behind, so what we want to eventually get is that we just kind of tip those hindquarters in, but see how that my horse is still straight. I don't want to do this. I don't want to just tip his head to the fence and yet leave that hindquarter still tracking. So as we're walking down here, I'm going to put my right leg on, and it doesn't have to be like a huge degree, but he's got to stay straight is the more important thing, and just kind of let him walk. I want to still have some forward motion so that he feels like he has a way to go to still move forward, but the fence is what's going to kind of help you there. So using your left hand, so left hand, and now put your right leg on him, and just kind of ask this for a couple little steps. So yep, right leg, just bring it back a little bit. Yep. Okay, now if he gets stuck like that, okay, because this will happen, and sometimes we don't intentionally try to cause to have too much angle, but what happens is that we end up in a spot where we get him kind of stuck. So the best thing there is I'll just take this right rein and right leg and just turn him this way and then walk on again. Okay, so just try that. Take that right rein and just turn him around to the right, put your right leg on him. Good, and now walk on straight again. That's how you're going to unstick him. Now just think about pushing that with that right leg and just hold it just a little bit. Right rein, right leg. Good. Okay, now turn into the fence. So right rein, right leg, and turn him. Keep going. Good. Keep going. Bump him with that right rein, right leg. Good. Okay, and now we're going to walk back this way. Okay, so start out by allowing him to walk, and now we're going to just ever so slightly look at seeing if we can take our left leg and left rein and just feel about pushing him over a little bit. That's it. Like I'll even take that. Feel how there's a couple little steps there? See that side is a little better? Okay, now let him go straight. So my intention when I start this out isn't for them to, on a green horse like this, isn't for them to do the whole length of the arena. If I get 3 or 4 steps, then I'll let them walk straight ahead. Then I'll go back and re-ask for it again. So now let's turn left and go back to the fence. Turn left. That's it, that one. Camera. So as you hit the fence, I want you to start walking straight, and then you rein in the right leg. We're going to look at starting to just see if we can shift that hip and body to the inside just a little bit. Yeah, just right leg a little bit there. Left hand helps slow him down. Good. I'll take that. Now let him go straight again. Much better. Okay, now right rein, right leg. Yep, and see about just left hand helps slow him down. Good. Right rein, right leg. Left rein a little bit, help to kind of just slow it down a little bit. Good, and again. Good, good, a little bit more, right leg, a little bit more. There, good job. Now let him go straight. Good job. Okay, and then circle back here again to the fence. So what we're starting on to do here, Kim, this is what is kind of comes into what's considered to be our lateral type movements. Now, why is that important? This here is what allows us to have the control and the ability that when then we add speed to it, that we can help to keep the straightness of the horse at the trot and the canter. So when you feel him leaning one way or the other, this is his education of starting to learn to move off those legs so that he's going to be respondent when the speeds get higher. But we'd use the fence here to just kind of help to control the forward motion at the same time. So left rein, left leg, just see if you can push that hip around a little bit more. Good. And see how that it gets kind of there you go, good. See how it gets kind of tricky to keep that neck straight? Yeah, and that's kind of the, you know, one of the parts in this is being able to keep that head and neck and place it where you want it to be. What we're trying to learn here, would you use this to help teach side pass? Absolutely. So just to give you a couple of definitions, we have side pass, we have leg yield.
What's the difference? That's where I'm...
Exactly. Okay, so side pass is more of a movement where that you're going to almost allow almost no forward motion and go sideways either direction. Leg yield is when that you have forward momentum, and I was going to leg yield here to the fence. So my horse stays straight as I can through his neck, his body and his shoulders, and leg yields to the fence. But see how that he had forward motion, okay? So the reason why that we start with having him taking that hip and just moving it off, because it's a lot more difficult to try to get the side pass or the half pass going to the fence than it is utilizing the fence.
Okay, half pass.
Okay,
That term.
all right, so half pass, the difference between side pass, half pass and leg yield. So half pass is when the horse's nose and hip are moving in the same direction like this. Now, why is that the greater degree of difficulty? It's a greater degree of difficulty because the horse's nose and hip are going in the same way. Because if I just want to side pass, it's a lot easier for me to kind of bend him and push him this way. But if I start to turn to where that his nose and his hip are going the same direction, this here now becomes much more advanced. Okay, so essentially you're not going to have half pass in any of the tests that you do. Now, why is it a good exercise to practice? I do it both on the straight and also on a circle. It's good because it helps my canter transition. Because think about when you go to canter off, I want to have him looking in the direction that he's going, and I want to have his hip up underneath him. So when I go forward to canter, I think about that half pass type movement into that canter transition. Okay, so again, it's that hip and that nose going in that same direction, and he goes forward onto that, into that canter. Where the reason that we start out again there on the fence is because if we tried to do this now, he would just end up stopping and quitting. Okay, so having the fence, what that does is it allows us to have forward motion and concentrate on helping to try to keep that head and neck straight. So we'll go up and down once more. What that's going to do is help us to be able to ride our square. Okay, so think about that head and neck staying straighter, and now using that left leg and shifting that hip towards me. So check him a little bit on the right rein, so right rein and left leg need to work together. Right rein, left leg, yeah, feel that? Good. Good. Okay, we'll take that. And let's go back down here towards it again. Okay, so left hand is going to help slow it down and help him to stay straight. So your left hand and right leg need to work together. So left hand, right leg, left hand, right leg, left hand, right leg. That's it, pushing that hip towards me. Good job. There you go, good. Good. Left hand, right leg. Left hand, right leg. Left hand, right leg. Yeah. Good, there you go. Good, left hand, right leg.
So, how much pressure should we put on the right hand? Because when I do the left hand, he's going to move his nose in towards you.
Yeah, so what you balance here, and this is the part where this is going to just take time now in writing it, is that on that, when I say left hand, right leg, what I'm trying to do is get you to kind of squeeze on that left rein and put that right leg on the same time. Your right rein still has to maintain contact in turn, because you're 100% correct that if you didn't have anything on the right rein, you're going to find that you get to where that he just gets, turns towards me, okay? Now, the other thing that I do is that I only do this in bits and pieces. We've done more than what I would typically do just to try to walk through the exercise. But often,
So I can learn.
but often I'll go through and I wouldn't do these type of things with him in the beginning because he's just going to get jacked up, right? I'm going to do them maybe somewhere in the middle and maybe a little bit at the end. But why this stuff is so important, because it's going to be transitions, up and down, and body control, and particularly into the, into the canter transition, because that's what's going to enable you to push his hip up underneath him to ask him to strike off on the correct lead. It's also what we're going to do, because we'll go from this exercise to some shoulder in and some traverse and other bits and pieces on the lateral movements. They're all movements that you won't actually have to do in the test, but they're all training movements to help everything else. Because typically when a horse canters, he doesn't naturally canter that straight. So we'll do some other things like some counter canter. That'll help in the straightness of it. But this is one of the first basic ones that I get the starting out on. Any questions?
Work on this week.
Any questions? No, it's okay. I get that. So I look, again, in the couple of weeks that you've been at it, where you're at to where you're at right now, there's a dramatic improvement in the way that he's going and also on how he looks. So that's good.